There we go. Now, look.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Guy.
Hi, I'm Troy.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And this is Geek Tank.
Your opening list-sized podcast.
That's
Yeah,
where we are today.
technical difficulties. So instead of sitting through the 3 minutes it takes to load everything up, we're here right now.
Whether you like it or not.
There's
They
no other place you'd rather be.
That's
That's
true.
right. Well,
Or we're just out of options.
out of failure's always an option.
Mm-hmm.
Just proved that.
Yeah.
Gosh. Oh, so yeah, we have nothing to talk about. But as I mentioned, one of my kiddos suffered their first sprained ankle.
Hmm.
But I've been trying to be like the good dad and keep my kids like on a path towards trying to be fit. And of course, when you exercise, you put yourself at risk of injury. And he's not into a lot of sports, so trying to change directions rapidly, his ankles weren't happy with that. So, but I told him, just makes you tougher.
It didn't kill you. And if it kills you, then you probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that's against the rules. No getting killed.
No dying. It's a standing rule. So I can probably, I know that I just saw SpaceX stacked another large super starship together. So that's kind of cool. So I'm going to see what its plan is for Starship, because I know we've got another battle plan for it at some point here. They have not yet made it to orbit with this thing. So
is it just gets canceled, or has it actually like fallen apart?
No, they blow up.
Oh,
it's an RUD.
Yeah, you're not supposed to blow up.
Yep. So they're still working on it. They're getting there. The first one, the first Starship launch, I swear, it looked just like one of my rockets from Kerbal. I was like, you need to play more Kerbal. Because like the rocket went up into the up there into the upper atmosphere, and then it started to tumble and spin. I'm like, you need more fins. That's I mean, anybody who plays Kerbal knows this. More fins.
Or who's like done model rocketry.
I know. I'm like, nah. I'm assuming that was actually a control failure on the fins, but still, it looked exactly like a Kerbal launch. And I was like, maybe you guys need to play more Kerbal. I mean, you know, I'll take any excuse to play more Kerbal.
Computer simulations, what?
It's cheaper than blowing up ships.
Just completely came apart and blew up. That was all right. And then now we're on number 3. So we'll see what happens on number 3. The thing is that SpaceX's entire concept is to fail faster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been their concept all along. And I hate to say this, but it worked well for the Russians. And they, for a long time, were eating our lunch in the Apollo program because they were failing faster. Luckily, these days, we don't have to actually put somebody in the ship and then expect them to blow up and die with it. So,
hey, Bob,
you know, that's at least a plus. But yeah, we are losing a number of starships over and over and over.
I would think that SpaceX is losing a number of starships.
Well, okay, yes, but as with most spaceships, I'm sort of possessive. But that's me.
Well, it's coming out of their pocket. Their Tesla
not
money.
coming out of my pocket. If I had that kind of money,
yeah. Gee, I never looked into that.
Kerbal.
Are they taking government money to fund their spaceships?
Not a lot. It's mostly out of investors' pockets at the moment. There will be government money. They're getting government money off of their Falcon 9 programs, because they just put up 2 satellites this week on a Falcon 9 launch. And in fact, the Falcon 9s are so ridiculously reliable now, and they're completely reusable, which, you know, that's always amazing. So they're making a lot of money off of launching things on Falcon 9.
Okay. But that's like for services rendered, not
for services rendered. Yes, they're not just taking.
I find that acceptable
Yes.
for now.
It is acceptable, but yes, for services rendered, they put quite a bit. They're getting really close to their one launch a week goal that they had for. I think they had that for 2021, but then COVID hit and everything got stupid. So now, and then when they finally kind of came back online, everything was a little weird and funky. But now they're getting alarmingly close to their 2-week turnaround time of bringing the bottom half of a Falcon 9 back, landing it, bringing it back, refurbishing it, and putting it back out on the pad for another launch. And I mean, this is becoming somewhat amazing in my book. So there's my report from SpaceX. I don't have a lot to report from NASA.
SpaceX. Let's see.
Other than it was funny to watch ISS, the astronauts in the ISS talk about, the football game. That was kind of funny.
What did ISS have to say about it?
Oh, they were just saying, good luck, and then they tried to throw a football around. It was very funny. Well, they were doing the typical NASA thing. So, for all of you who are wondering, there's a lot of things that are connecting the ISS to football. For example, with all of our solar panels, the ISS is exactly as long as a regulation football field. I was like, it's not exactly what I call a connection, but okay. It was almost like, and the second thing is, we have one up here. Here's a football. Look, this kind of like, yeah, that's about right. I really felt for those guys. They were like scrambling to figure out stuff to say to connect it to the Super Bowl. It was
the Taylor Swift while doing it.
Yeah. I did actually manage to watch the Super Bowl. I don't know about you guys, but we went to the Buffalo Wild Wings near here, and it was James, Kevin, Anna, and me, and we all watched the game from mostly the beginning because, of course, I was at work up until I missed like the first few minutes of the game or whatever.
Well, from what I understand, the first half of the game, there's only like 3 points scored, so it's not like you missed anything for the first part.
It was all exciting once it got to the end, though.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It was pretty good game.
I actually had zero interest in it until the conspiracy theory started coming out, and then I started to really care about who won because I wanted the people who had the conspiracy theory to have more fuel to fuel their craziness. So and the team that they said was being conspired to won, so clearly it was a conspiracy theory. It couldn't have possibly been that the other team used skill and tactics to win and luck, but
there was some serious luck in that game.
Yeah.
No, and I had to root for the other team because I didn't want the ghost of my mom.
Your mom.
Your
mom.
Yep.
Ghost mom. With Eddie Murphy.
She hated the Kansas City side. So I had to root for the 49ers just to keep myself from being haunted.
I thought the Broncos' arch enemy was I'm sorry. I was going to say I didn't realize Kansas City was the Broncos' arch nemesis.
There's a long story behind that.
Oh, okay.
The fans are Raider haters, but the actual players get into more scraps with Kansas City than anybody else. So the Broncos actually hate the Chiefs, but that's just an inside thing. I don't know. Mom, that was Mom's thing. I don't know.
All right.
Work here.
You just had to support her unexplainable hate.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that I think the conspiracy was just to get San Francisco into the Super Bowl, and then put Taylor Swift's partner's team against them, so that way a bunch of MAGA douchebags would have to cheer for San Francisco.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not gonna naysay that one. I like that.
Yeah, I think I watched about 3 minutes of it, the very beginning, just because it was something to have on, and then I had other stuff to do, and I went and did other stuff. So,
Sometimes James just likes to do that just to kind of, I don't know. But I speak fluent football, so I'll go. Doesn't bother me any.
Lauren and I were hoping to go out to like dancing that night or dinner, and then she got COVID.
Yeah.
Boo.
Boo. So, yeah.
Yeah. You played Fallout. Bob played Fallout. That's fair.
Tabletop role-playing game. How was it? I guess
Yeah.
it's going to take time for you to type stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're doing that, we will change the topic so that Bob's response will not make any sense.
Yeah, Nick's wanting, my kiddo Nick is wanting to put together kind of a role-playing game system. More specifically, he wants to run a role-playing game that's set in the universe of Warhammer 40K's Dark Tide, because he really enjoys the video game.
Yeah.
And when he's describing it to me, I'm like, what you're kind of describing is really more like a miniature battles game and less like a role-playing game. And he's like, no, but there'll be story and stuff. I'm like, well, you gotta really know your balance here, because if all your players want to just push miniatures around and roll dice, cool, go for that. But if they're expecting a role-playing game, you're going to need to have less of the dice rolling and more of the storytelling.
That's like Mobile Frame Zero. Boy, I love Mobile Frame Zero.
Just pushing Legos around and rolling dice.
Pushing Legos around. That was the best.
Cool. Yeah, Denver makes sense as a place to base the game since
Yeah.
you live here.
You live here.
Always fun. Always fun. I go get my stash.
Right. I know where this place is. I've got lots of weapons. It's at this one house. I know that there's stuff there.
The house is still around after a nuclear blast.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, if it's
There is
set in
that.
if it's set in the Fallout world, is it going off of the big war happened like early?
Yeah.
Like early in our timeline, I
Mhm.
wonder.
yeah.
I was also thinking, what is it?
Yeah, it's pretty funny that like, oh yeah, the nukes went off and people were inside the things. Like, yes, but even playing the original Fallout, or like I guess Fallout 3, it's like all this stuff would be glass. I mean, people would have moved in and like made stuff eventually, but
Mhm.
like all these buildings that you go exploring, all this stuff lying around, no, no. I saw the Capitol. No.
Hmm.
It's like, give me a break.
I guess in NORAD makes the most sense as to where you'd put a vault.
Oh, I mean,
Oh,
it's if you live in a capital city, there are nukes pointed at you.
Mhm.
If you live in a major metropolitan area that's not a capital city, nukes are pointed at you. It's like,
And we happen to be at both.
yeah, we're close enough to Denver, and then of course there's NORAD. Yeah, there's the I guess the Arsenal's no longer the Arsenal, so we got that.
Jericho. Okay, I was trying to remember. There's a TV series that never finished called Jericho
Mhm.
that takes place outside of Denver, and a nuke goes off in Denver.
Yeah, it takes place in like, that's one of the major plot points early on, is that they're like in Kansas or something, and they see like someone's like, I'm gonna go to Denver because I just dropped my family off here, and they're driving, is like boom, and they're like, oh, huh.
Yeah, I like the science that they put into it, because they're like, we have an hour before the fallout hits us. Quick, everybody starts sheltering and gets put away. And yeah, the opening couple of episodes really impressed me with that show, especially when like the teenagers going in and grabbing all the meat, and the person at the store is like, "You're already looting," and they're loading the meat into the ice container with all the ice because the power's going to go out, and so they're not looting, they're prepping.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was impressed with that show. Apparently there's a few comic books to help wrap up, since it never actually finished as a series.
That's cool.
Uh,
Yeah, one of the things I liked about one of the little scenes I liked about it was there was the guy who's obviously like a spook. He
yeah,
was obviously like an intelligence and stuff, and so, but he's like Hollywood intelligence. So he was like a spy kind of guy, and so it's like they had a part where like, oh, some people came in from out of town. They like tried to like take somebody hostage and do all this stuff, and like he goes in and he walks out like 10 minutes later, and like, what happened? I don't want to talk about it. And it just keeps going. It's good.
yeah. I think that's the same actor that plays Morgan in The Walking Dead, if I'm remembering correctly. Because Walking Dead didn't exist back when Jericho came out, so I had no point of reference for the actors. Nukes.
Nukes.
So speaking of nukes,
Nuke of Earl. Nuke.
oh, hello there, Brent. Welcome to
Hey,
the
Brent.
show. I'm not gonna name names. I'm just gonna say that one crazy guy is apparently declaring that we don't need to be allies with NATO anymore, and that screw the rest of the world. And,
I mean, if you don't care about American hegemony, then by all means.
yeah, it's like, but yeah, Tara was like, I was considering moving to like Germany, but depending on how the election goes, it might not be safe for Americans to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, cut all of our ties and lose all our allies because just cause.
Just cause.
Well,
Yeah, stupid politics. Trying to think what other fun things are going on. I saw the trailer for Deadpool 3, which looks fun. I enjoyed Deadpool 1 and 2, so I'm
the second one.
I'm the target audience.
Fair. I saw, gosh, I don't even remember. I actually did see the advertisement for the Marvels, and I don't know, it looked pretty good, so I'm probably going to watch it sometime this week.
Yep, Tara and I watched it. It's on Disney.
Yep.
So it had the usual poor thinking script wise as to the bad guys' plan. One of those like, wait, what was your plan again? Did you at least like brainstorm it with some friends, or did you just pull this out of your butt and now you're doing it?
Step 1, do something that the hero will notice me.
Yeah.
Step 2, ... Step 3, conquest. It's like,
yeah, but it was fun. The fangirling aspect that they threw into it was fun. The stuff that I'd heard complaints about, I actually didn't find a problem in it. But I'm also not a guy who wants the film to fail because I'm a guy, so, which is the impression I got from a lot of the complaints I heard.
yeah, at least one of our friends said it was good.
Yeah, and I didn't go into it expecting the Punisher, so when they gave me lots of fluffiness, I knew what I was getting into, so I wasn't upset.
Cool.
Fair.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Thief.
yeah.
Hey, Donald.
Hey,
Welcome
Donald.
to the show.
We've been Kiddo and I have been still watching Bob's Burgers. There's like a million seasons of that.
Wow.
But I realized that Hulu also has the original animated The Tick.
Mhm.
And or as I'm starting to call it, the Venture Brothers prequel. It's
Yes. That's fair.
Like the two guys who created Venture Brothers, at least one of them also worked on Tick, if not both of them.
Oh.
And so there's a lot of that DNA. And of course, like having watched the Venture Brothers extras, that they'll talk about, yeah, this is a bad guy name I always wanted to use, was too much, like it's too much for the Tick. Stuff like that. So like totally.
Yeah, they still had to be kind of in the disguise that they were a kids show.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't remember what I forgot what it was. Like we were watching something in Bob's Burgers and they were talking about like somebody's tongue and tasting something. I'm like, that reminds me of Tonguey from the Tick. Do they have the Tick on this? Like they do. I started watching it. So is good.
Yep, I need to go back and watch that again. Fun stuff.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
definitely a bit slower paced than I think that I kind of remember it being, but also it's like maybe it'll get warmed up because we're still I've only watched a couple episodes, and then so I don't know if maybe it gets a bit faster paced later on. I think maybe they were like the first few episodes might be kind of slow paced so that people can get it because they don't know the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So the tickler doesn't the tick fight the tickler or something at some point in time? That sounds familiar. Or it
Yeah,
might just be.
probably.
Or maybe like there's like another hero that showed up at some point. Now I'm thinking about the civic-minded 5. Sorry.
No, I mean, it's back in that day when we were watching the Max and things like that. That was just that part of our co-life together, or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean, I remember watching the Tick and the Max and Aeon Flux, and I mean, like, there was a lot of them in that zone there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, somebody was asking me if I saw Twin Peaks when it was first in on the TV.
that was me.
That was you, yeah. Like no, I was way too into watching things like The Max and Aeon Flux and Liquid Television and
Yeah, Liquid TV.
all sorts of other crazy stuff. Yeah.
Man, Liquid TV, yeah. MTV After Dark, yeah. Agreed.
Liquid Television. I don't know if they survive, but I mean, I'm sure I still have some of those VHSs that I taped off of the TV,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Liquid TV and such. Yeah, I used
I'm
to have like
wondering if I dig
the first
through
2
stuff out
seasons
there.
in their entirety.
I'm kind of wondering if I'll find some of the original VHSs from Greenwood, because some of those were like those recorded off of TV, and
They did do a release of the Max on DVD that I picked up a while ago. I wonder if they ever did one for Liquid Television. They used to be like a collection. It was like a kind of a not even a best of, just a here's some shorts that we did for an hour or two.
sadly, Donald, I could not be marked safe. Worse, I actively went looking for it.
Yeah, because I have I've got Aeon Flux on DVD, because that was that was the talkie version, which I didn't like at the time, but I've since watched again and with a I don't know, a bit more sophistication to my own taste. I was like, oh, this is actually really good. And then but I at the time I was much more of a purist for the shorts that were they were originally debuted in the first 2 seasons of Liquid Television. The original 15-minute long short, and then a bunch of like, I don't know, half a dozen of standalone vignettes. Doesn't look like it. They got like episodes for $2 or buy the season. Oh well. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
looks
reminding me
like
of
Disney Plus is going the way of Netflix. I just got an email from Disney Plus. Sorry for making a side chat or side move on this one, but yeah, Disney Plus just said we're adding limitations on sharing your account outside of your household and explaining how we may assess the compliance with these limitations. So, yep.
Yeah.
You're going to make it so that you cannot share. So that everybody has to pay $1,000 a month to have their 4,000 different streaming services. And piracy will go crazy. And they'll be like, why are there pirates? We should just arrest the pirates. You know?
Piracy has ever been a how to put it, a problem with, I don't know, with like sorry, I've not been drinking and I still can't think of these words. But the it's a service issue.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, but it's yes, obviously they want to get their money.
Mm-hmm.
They
Sure.
want to get all. They want to have all the money.
All the money.
And so they had, a couple outlets like try this streaming thing for a while. Then it's like, oh, this is successful. The contracts ran out for them to have the rights to our properties, and now we'll make our own streaming services. And yeah, it becomes how you can, like what's your priority. I actually pay more now than I ever have, and that's actually a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least like especially with like YouTube, like I'm sorry, it's 9:27. We basically made the agreement, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So many people, us, oh yeah, just take our information. Give
Yep.
us the free email, give us the good search engine, give us the storage on your servers. Just take our information, it's fine, whatever. And it's like, no, it's not fine. It's not fine. It's worth way more than, us being, even when we were poor, spending money here and there. I actually pay for YouTube, whatever they call it, YouTube Premium,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to have ads
Yeah.
at me. And I'm like, you know what? That's worth it to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and yeah, and I'm basically paying like probably about $100 a month. But these days it's an easy swing between Disney Plus, Hulu, YouTube Premium, and Netflix.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I did the YouTube thing just for the free trial for the month because I wanted to watch Cobra Kai back before it was on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Because it didn't seem like it was going to go anywhere other than YouTube.
Right.
So I'm like, I want to see this, and then when I watched it, I was like, this is awesome. And I'm glad Netflix was like, hey, awesome show, get over here and get off of YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, everybody makes their own decisions on what they want to spend their time, their time/money paying for, and also their time just with their recreation.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be like, I mean, that's the decision I made. That's kind of the reasoning I have behind it. I'm not going to diss anybody out for that's ridiculous. I mean, and as far as piracy goes, like to me, I have pirated things. I will continue to pirate things that are simply impossible to get any other way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that's me. But I don't. Other people sit there and go for it. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'm not gonna, dog them out.
Mm-hmm.
This is fascinating. You, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus agree to waive class action procedures. No party will seek to have a dispute heard as a class action or private attorney general action or any other proceeding in which any party acts or propose to act in a representative capacity. Nice.
You know what else is nice?
Yep. Our sponsors who aren't doing the class action lawsuit, because our Geek Tank is sponsored by Kieran Games, Geekway Homes, the Massage Wizard. I'm just trying to get it here. And
your mom.
I'm looking at some of these other comments. Yeah, Beavis and Butthead, their first shorts were on Liquid Television.
Yeah.
Frog Baseball, I believe, was the first one that aired. It's the first one I remember seeing.
Sounds right.
And there was also the one where they went to the Monster Truck Rally, and the Monster Truck smashed a bunch of porta potties, and Secretius, the roaming god of feces, exacted its vengeance upon the Coliseum goers.
Nice.
I do remember watching Back to the Future 2, and on like the 9-screen television, I can remember that there's at least one Liquid TV short playing on the television, if not 2 or 3.
What was that called? Night Flight. Okay.
Oh, Night Flight.
Yeah, the not MTV. It was on USA Network. Yeah.
Well, Donald, would that be cool? I mean, from a shareholder standpoint, would that be cool, or just be good for the consumer?
Well, what it would be, half of them would be stuff you want, and the other half would be something you don't want. Like with the cable thing that I currently turned down, they wanted to lump in all the sports stuff, and I'm like, I'd like to have BBC channel, but I don't need 50 sports channels. But Dynaman was on Night Flight, and that was one of the first things I'd seen where they had taken something and totally replaced all the dialogue, because
Mm.
it was like a uh, Japanese early version of Power Rangers, and so they completely changed it all around and had American actors do it. And then Woody Allen's "What's Up, Tiger Lily" came out before that, but I didn't see it until after I saw Dynaman, because somebody's like, "Oh, this is like that one movie." And but yeah, it looks like they have a lot of Dynaman on YouTube, so you could.
Hmm.
Lots of people did the VHS recording and then put it up on YouTube so everybody can watch it. Like the first was it like three hours of MTV when it very first aired, you can watch on YouTube. Which is, it's great to go back and watch, and you can like, well, they definitely are brand new because they're struggling to vamp.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how they start cracking down on the people using stuff other places. Because I know whenever I travel, I end up watching at least one, if not more, of my streaming services on my laptop from some other location than my house.
Yeah. The way, like, either have you registered devices or they'll put some
Mhm.
cookies on there or whatever.
Then you just have your friends register their devices that you're sharing with.
Yeah. Yeah. I figured it was only a matter of time before all of these services went that route. I just finished reading all of it, and sure as the world, it's, on top of the "you promise not to class action lawsuit us," it was, "we get to turn it off if we think you're screwing around with it." And still bill you, by the way.
That does remind me of I have a friend who, in the early days of Netflix, DVD.com, I think before there was streaming, he had one of those mega accounts where he just had 4 or 5 DVDs at a time, and he wound up and he just burned them,
Mm-hmm.
and he wound up sending back a burn,
Uh-oh.
and they're like, "Your account is canceled."
Yep.
See,
In a way, you kind of asked for that one on that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, with the streaming and stuff, I know like some friends of ours we are getting together regularly to watch Rome, which I own on DVD,
Mm-hmm.
but we are watching it primarily through streaming, the HBO, one of the HBO streaming platforms, so that way they can see in their metrics that people are
You
still
liked
watching this excellent show, make
Mm-hmm.
more like it. I know, I think I was talking about how I picked up the first season of Sandman on Blu-ray, and I watched all of it just to make sure it worked. But I'll do most of my Sandman viewing on Netflix through the stream, so that way they know people are watching this. Make more Sandman. So, yeah. Rome is amazing. The first season of Rome is some of the best television ever made. The second season of Rome is also some of the best television ever made, just not as good as the first season.
That's fair.
But it's amazing. Yeah, we're in season 2 right now. We're about halfway through. So, but yeah, like Brutus just died.
spoiler alert.
Man, were you there when? Okay, so another friend of ours, you're like, I'm talking about the Marco Polo show that was on that's on Netflix, and we kind of got tired of it, my wife and I. So we stopped watching after a while, but we watched a good couple seasons. And I was talking about the first season and at a party, and I'm like, yeah. And so at the end of the first season, they totally get through the wall, and Kublai Khan and all of them, his the Khanate takes over northern China, and he's like, spoiler alert, man. I'm like, dude,
It's history.
it happened like 1,500 years ago. It's like,
if you haven't caught up by now,
it's like, yeah, Jesus dies,
Oh no!
but don't worry, he comes back 3 days later. Come on.
Yeah, for the sequel.
Titus Pullo, love that guy. Yeah, Ray Wise, he died last year. I don't know, like 9 months ago. So, yeah. But yeah, no, Rome's so good.
That's interesting. I was feeling the same way about spoiler stuff, and it occurred to me that you have to take into account a person's age, because it's like some kids can't watch certain shows until they're a certain age, depending on their parents' restrictions.
Mhm.
So, like, I wouldn't want to spoil Fight Club for the 14-year-olds because they're not old enough to watch Fight Club yet.
Right.
So it's one of those things that Tara and I were talking about, because I'm like, I guess I can't make Rosebud jokes until they've seen.
Are they? Well, I mean, at this point in time, you only really watch Citizen Kane if you're a film nerd.
Yeah,
Right.
I was gonna say, Citizen Kane's hard to watch unless you like.
Yeah, I
that.
mean, if you want to see this foundational film,
Mhm.
but I mean, people aren't just gonna be like, let's watch Citizen Kane.
I got nothing else to do. Yep. Yeah, it's just one of those things where you got to kind of weigh and choose, and it's at a certain point, they're probably never even going to watch it unless if they're encouraged to, like Fight Club. I don't know if they're ever going to choose to watch that.
Yeah, it's true.
They were supposed to read it in Nick's senior class.
Interesting.
And I was like, well, cool. If you need a copy of the book, I got one. You can just read mine if you don't want to wait for them to hand them out.
Mhm.
And then I don't know if the school pulled the plug on that or if something else happened, but they ended up not doing that. But I told Nick, I'm like, hey, I've got the book, I've got the movie. You're old enough. You want to watch it? I think it's awesome.
Yeah, there's some great stuff out there, and yeah, it's like people like I remember, like 12 years ago, ish, when I was taking some college courses, and I was like the oldest person who wasn't the teacher there, but we were talking and like, oh yeah, I said something and I got puzzled looks. I'm like, oh, y'all have never seen Pulp Fiction? I'm like, all right, and like they had no idea what it was. But it's also one of those things that it's so formative, it's so influential that they live in a world that has been shaped by Pulp Fiction.
Mhm.
Or, as I always like to talk about, and I swear I'm not going to go off the rails on this unless you can encourage me to. Half the TV shows people love today would not exist without Twin Peaks.
I'm willing to give
I think that does
a nod. I think that, yeah, you're probably right on that one.
As I say,
so
I think that deserves a whole episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh,
there's a lot to dive
research.
into that.
You're breaking it down though.
But yeah, but no, it's like but it's so influential. But most people love all these different shows. They'll never see Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. It's just like that DNA is there. Or like when I was like I mentioned when I was watching John Wick, like 100 bullets of DNA is in there. Or there's something else that I was like, this is very influenced by. Yeah, I was watching something else. It'll come to me. But it's like I love seeing those connections.
Mm-hmm. We've kind of.
I don't know. Those are pretty boring Star Trek movies.
As Trekkie in the room, I really cannot argue with that either.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they're bad.
No, just boring.
But they're kind of boring.
Yeah,
it's like The Black Hole. That movie's mostly boring.
Yeah,
but it's not bad.
And then when it hits terrifying, at full speed.
Oh yeah,
I still have nightmares of Maximilian.
Dude, that giant red robot, the first person he kills on camera is named Alex.
Oh no!
Through the book.
I was so
Through
upset.
the book.
Through the book.
Oh, I was like, because I watched that at the drive-in back when we had drive-ins.
Yeah.
They had a
I think I was,
die-cast.
what, 9, 8, 9, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
They had a die-cast metal action figure of Maximilian, and I was so mad that I never got him when I was a kid
Right.
because I really
Yeah.
wanted him, so I could
Oh,
kill all
man.
my GI Joes with him.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now my mom took me to see
Your
it
mom.
in the theater
Mom.
because the trailer. She's like, "Oh, it's by Disney, and oh, it's got these cute floating robots."
Mhm.
Thanks, mom.
Psych.
I
I
really
can laugh
think
about
my
it
mom
now.
and dad did the same thing. I really think that's exactly the same thing that happened with mine. They were like, "Oh, this would be cool. It'd be a sci-fi thing. Guy likes space shows. This should be fine, right?" Then it's Maximilian in hell, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, this is horrible."
I just remembered when I was watching it with my brother, he was like, "Yeah, if you can see a black hole, you're dead." It was kind of, it's like you can't be that close and see it. Are you
And that,
working this weekend, Guy?
yes,
Okay, yeah, I was looking at my calendar. I was just going to mention Genghis Khan is coming up this weekend, but I think you and I are both completely booked.
I think we're working both.
Yeah,
and I've got like a weird combo of things. Oh, I'm not working Saturday because it's somebody's birthday.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
trying to limit the amount I discuss on air about my child.
That's fine. Your child. Well, that's still the thing that's in the way of you going to Genghis Khan. So, yeah.
Yep. I was just looking at my calendar.
But those of you interested, Genghis Khan is this weekend, 15th to the 18th.
Yep.
Huh.
So,
All right.
which, yeah, I was originally going to be trying to get us in there, but I figured with my schedule and your schedule, we weren't going to be able to do it.
Yeah. I've got a weird weekend too because like I had the same class.
Hey, it's a Mikey.
Holy crap! It's Zed Mikey.
Hey.
These folks know you.
Well, I mean, maybe.
Mm-hmm. What were you gonna say, Guy?
Oh, I was gonna say I had the same crew on the 4th and the 11th, and then I have this weird outlier for day 4 or day 3, and then I get them back again on the 25th. I don't understand sometimes the way that they schedule us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. Well, my Saturdays now have improv rehearsals, so
it's fair.
And then D&D.
Yeah. Which hopefully
nobody gets sick.
Yeah, it's not just sick. No stupid storms and stuff. Because that's also a thing that keeps happening. Getting snowed on.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look at the full forecast since we said it. Like, what's the 10-day forecast say? The thing about Colorado, yeah, there's a storm rolling in on Thursday, Friday, but it doesn't look like it's anything major yet.
Well, the crazy thing is last Friday to Saturday, it actually didn't get bad down here in Sheridan. But you look at the pictures that Cena and Jeff posted, Golden was...
Oh, and Arvada was too. So it was like... Yeah, what I've noticed is for some reason, there is a 7-day pattern to weather here in Colorado. We hit some kind of rhythm during the winter, and I've seen it every year. It'll be, the snow falls on Tuesday this year, and every Tuesday will be a snowstorm. It's not perfect because, of course, we're talking, but I mean, it is like consistent that it's always on Saturdays this year, and it was like always on Tuesdays last year or whatever. It's like so weird. And when I say that, of course, I mean that the majority of the storms were on a Saturday. Obviously, there were storms that were otherwise, but I think there's some kind of 7-day loop between how the weather works in California or something. Maybe that's just they have to do payroll and everything like that. And so it always resets the machines because they've got to send everybody home, start a new work week.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, Saturday, I was obviously on duty for masking up and going out for groceries and stuff, but like my street does not get plowed. It's a couple blocks away from a major street. It was pretty much clear
Yeah.
when I left. The Saturday before that, I know that it was snowing a lot, but I went out dancing. I slipped more walking than I did on the road. It's like
The one that was the week before was freaky because I couldn't get out of the parking lot of the location, the Arvada location. I high centered on snow and had to actually like roll my car back and forth until I could finally get one of the wheels to touch the ground. I had high centered on so much snow. And then I just drove without stopping. And then all of a sudden I got to Wadsworth and it was nothing. There was no snow. I mean, there was, but not a lot. And it was just like a line drawn. It was so weird. And everything west of Wadsworth was like 700 feet of snow. And everything east of Wadsworth was like an inch. It was just really weird. That one was a very weird storm.
Huh, interesting. I decided to just kind of look up what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And there's absolutely no science to any of this. The one answer I found, but this is someone in Britain saying that they think it's mostly psychological because they work 5 days and they look forward to getting out on the weekend. And then, of course, they notice when the weather's bad on the weekend more than when they don't notice. And so it feels like a pattern.
Maybe.
But I was looking because I thought maybe there would be some explanation as to like the cycle of wind and the latitude, longitude stuff. That maybe there's a rotation of it for every week. But
I mean, it may be or it may not be. Who knows?
Still perfecting the weather algorithm.
Yeah.
Simulation.
I mean, clearly there's no science to it since weathermen get it wrong all the time.
Actually, weathermen are getting really good at it now.
It's just an extremely complex system.
Yeah. They're getting much better about tracking the complex systems and seeing how it works. And
well, I remember last weekend it was I was hearing everything from like half an inch to a foot. And in my area, it was clearly like half an inch because I didn't even have to shovel. Everything had melted by the morning that was on the sidewalks and the road. And whereas you look at pictures everywhere else, like up in Arvada, apparently it was packed. Uh-oh.
I'm just showing my car in Arvada. This is 2 weeks ago. We were just like, and it was so funny because like this was completely different.
That was the parking lot of working.
Yeah, of the center, and that was the lee side. On the other side, it had a snowdrift all the way up the door.
Nice.
It's the weirdest thing.
I'm guessing
it was. I mean, as soon as we got back into our neighborhood, because Alex and I don't live very far apart.
Nope.
As soon as I got back to our neighborhood, it was totally drivable. I was really sitting there going, "There's no way I'm going to be able to get up into my driveway if it's like this," because my car rides low enough that it was pushing snow up the front of the car as I was going along, and so I was like, if I slow down and stop, I won't be able to go again. And so I was like, I just kind of drove slowly and then timed it so that I made it through all the lights so that they and everything like that. So I was catching them green. It was really, really weird.
Secret of Nim reference. Good job, Bob.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. And then, Donald earlier, he said about that. Yeah, the Star Wars special effects, no joke. There's tons of advances there. And
yeah. It's true. It's interesting.
They didn't let anybody out early, did they? Last 2 Saturdays ago.
Nope.
Because I can't remember what it was. So there were different places that were just flat out, we're closing today. We're done.
Yep.
And Tara's like, I guess you'd be coming home. I'm like, no, I really don't think they let anybody out early, even at school for drive school. You get snowed in there. Go ahead and just do a full overnight class and get your full 30 hours all in one day.
Yep. I hate this. But we also, it was a closeout for us.
Oh man.
So we had to go through test. And that's part of the reason it was so lousy was
Mhm.
because once the kids were gone, we still had to go through all the testing stuff. And by the time we were done,
Mhm.
one of the drivers was there and she got her Jeep stuck and she couldn't get out. And I was like, okay, you've got a Jeep. I've got just a little Jetta. This isn't going to be good. I'm like, if your Jeep is stuck, you know,
I've seen
and
some
sure
pretty
enough,
low
I got my
riding
Jetta
Jeeps.
stuck pretty good too. I guess I know how to drive it better than the Jeep, I guess. I don't know.
Well, many people who drive Jeeps are posers.
I see.
They
I
think
don't
It's
know.
true.
They think the Jeep gives them a +5 driving skill.
Right. That's what she was super frustrated. She was like, I can't believe I have a Jeep and I'm stuck. And I'm like, okay, I got nothing.
Yep. It's not magical. It still obeys the laws of physics.
Hmm.
Oh man, speaking of physics, I've been watching a lot more car crash videos.
Yeah.
and this one rollover, I'm like, holy crap! What the person, they're look like they're gonna exit, then they change their mind like big time and swerve hard, and swerve so hard they send their car into a rollover, and it's like that took skill to just
Yeah.
um,
Just velocity and commitment, baby.
yeah, it's what it was. And then another one of these was red light runner. 3 cars sitting at a red light, stacked up lengthwise to the left, start to take off, and you can catch a glimpse. The far car on the left clearly saw that somebody was running the red light because they stop. And then the other 2 cars keep going. The car running the red light hits car number 2 in the line, which knocks number 2 into number 3 and number 3 up onto its side. And the camera's from a motorcycle's perspective, and the motorcyclist drives into the underbelly of the car.
Oh, yeah.
got
I
flipped
saw
over.
that one. Yeah.
And they bailed and jumped up and like cursed a bit, and then they started like celebrating because they were alive
Right.
in that. But yeah, check your left and right before you commit.
Yeah. I mean, and I do the same thing. I watch them just the same reason that Troy does. But the red light runners, I was talking to the kids about this. I was like, this is why you need to know about, the yellow light and when to stop and when to go, because most red light runners are not because they're impatient. It's because they misjudged the yellow light. They thought, they did the brake, gas, I guess gas, and they hit the gas. They're too far away. They come up on the line. Now they're doing 60 miles an hour when the light turns red. There's no way they're going to stop now. So that's why you get these red light runners that are blasting through at 60 or 70 miles an hour. You're like, how are they doing that? Why are they doing
They panicked.
And it's because they panicked and couldn't figure out what the spot was, which is why it's so important to tell them that. Which, by the way, I tell them it's 3-second rule, because the 3 lines back, that there's no way on Highway 85 that's going to get you a stop at that light. At 104th and Highway 85, you're doing 65 miles an hour.
Yeah, the three
100 feet.
The 3 lines is only good for 35 or less.
Yep.
Which they don't specify in the videos, but and a lot of it is just you got to develop an eye for gauging distance and speed.
Yeah, well, what you do is it's your same 3-second distance, 3-second following distance. It's straight up. If the car in front of you makes it in on the yellow, you're not going to make it in on the red. Hit the brakes. If you're holding correct distance, because the yellow lights start at 3 seconds of timing. So the yellow lights always start at 3 seconds. Now the engineers will time them longer if there are accidents that happen in there. But a light that's just been installed, the yellow is 3 seconds. So
yeah,
my 3-second following distance.
Yeah, the way I tell them, which I'm kind of surprised isn't how they have it kind of teach all the instructors, is you just have to reverse your logic to what seems natural, which is, can I make it? Which is how most people think about it. Just think, can I safely stop? If you can stop safely, stopping should be your choice. If you can't stop safely, then probably not stopping is the better choice.
Right. And that's usually what happens, is just people just don't know whether that's what they can do or not.
I used to be guilty of it. I just think people get into they're thinking of, can I make it? Because the goal is to get to point A to B, and a red light is going to slow me down. So making it will further me to my destination quicker. But going online and looking up all the math, the amount of time you save by speeding and doing stuff like that is
It's
mere
negligible.
minute. It's minutes to hours. So it just feels like a lot more because we let it psychology.
But
convince us of that.
that's the thing is statistically, the red light runners are not people who were impatient. They were people who misjudged the point of no return. So,
I think they misjudge it because they don't know it.
yeah, that's why we teach it.
Yeah,
Interesting thing. Our boss has replaced some of the slides with my animations, and my animations are running way too slow.
Oh,
so they were awesome when I made them, and then I'm standing there in front of the class, and I'm like, "Okay, we will watch this thing do this thing," and the car goes by, and then it stops. And there's an uncomfortable pause. Then it does the next thing, and then it stops. There's an uncomfortable pause, and I'm like, I think I need to speed these animations up. I was like, oh, but you're sitting here in your comfortable little, operations room here, and I'm at my machine. I've got Premiere going, and I'm just cutting. Oh, this should be, but it's only like 3 seconds. How could that possibly be bad? Then you're standing there, and you're like, you hear the clock go, tick, 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 tick. Anyway.
Yeah, that must have been between 2 weeks ago and this week because I don't remember it being
it's
any
3
different.
and
when
4 that she's replaced that. So
okay. I haven't done 3 and 4 for a long time.
If you haven't done 3 and 4, then it won't matter.
And I probably won't be doing 3 and 4 for a long time.
Fair.
Just random.
Well,
cool.
Yeah,
2 minutes left.
What I'm going to be working on tonight.
1 minute left.
Got 1 minute before I have to go over there and work on those.
So today is the 34th anniversary of the day that Tara and I officially started dating.
Nice.
Yep. So it's one of those things where I slipped her a little note into her locker because the lockers have the little slots.
Oh, I remember that.
It's like, I like you. Do you like me? Check the. It wasn't that, but it might as well.
You don't remember what it was?
I don't, but I don't even know if she does. But who knows what crazy teenage Troy wrote?
I was kind of talking about that today.
But yeah.
That's pretty funny. Like, yeah, Lauren and I got together in February. So.
Yep. Our whole thing was yep. Is it your actual dating anniversary or your marriage anniversary there, Bob? Either way, congratulations.
Right?
Date-iversary.
Date-iversary. Oh, but yeah. That's something we could talk about sometime too if we want to talk about crazy dating.
Crazy dating. I should.
Okay. Well, congratulations on that, Brent. Silver lining.
My ex-wife the first time 20 years ago. That's. I love those stories.
Yep.
Done that a few times. I mean, not the whole married thing, but break out, get back together, break out, get back together.
Yeah. I'll tell you guys, Brent and Donald, if you're going to track me over on the other side, it'll be a minute or two because I just noticed that the garage door is not closing. So I think I have to go out there and figure out why the door won't close.
This is how people die in horror movies.
So yeah, if I don't show up in the next couple of minutes, call Alex to come over here and save me.
Get the swords.
Get the swords, Alex. You're the closest.
Okay.
I'm to rescue me.
All right. I haven't
it.
been drinking, so it's cool.
That's cool.
You show up and it's just him trapped under the garage door closing
right?
on him.
The door's like, and I'm like, help me, help.
Like, I got the sword. Just start stabbing the door.
Nah, I'll grab one of Guy's swords to do that.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, you got a few minutes to go do the garage door.
I'm gonna go do the garage door and I'll be back.
All right.
For
Well,
everybody else, that's all the time we've got
Well,
for
since
today.
you, as I say, since you got a few minutes, you could just go, and then Alex and I will close the show down in a couple of minutes when you get back. Because you're not doing anything else besides going off and dying, right?
Right? I'm just gonna go die.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to roll the thing, I'll roll it. I'll just leave.
Yeah.
I don't even like you people. No, I'll see
Oh
you
no,
guys
guy, to rescue! I must cut off your legs.
later, right?
It's just my shoe that's stuck.
But it's just oh no, ow!
Good to see you, Zed Mikey. It's been
Yeah.
more than a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey, I think just so you know, 3 or 4 shows ago, I think we mentioned you because we were talking about our like first D&D games and D&D game stuff, and the 3.5 game that you ran, that Alex and I were in. We talked about that a
Oh
bit.
yeah, we totally talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, 'cause that was your first D&D game, wasn't it, Troy? Or like your second
That
one? Or
was like
something?
my first actual D&D game. It's like
Yeah.
I was in like one session with some people who just was not fun, and then early college I was in a couple of sessions that had the guy who was like a kleptomaniac in it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. you
And
mentioned
so yeah, I don't really count them because they were really lame. Whereas
Mhm.
like Mikey's session was straight up D&D,
Yeah.
and that's what I expected it to be. So, or that's what I expected from a D&D game. So it was cool. Oh man. So yeah, I don't know why I told him to go away, but I did.
that we can talk about them.
That's right. We did that all last time. Cool.
Cool.
But yeah, D&D better happen.
He's goot. I'm a big fan.
Mhm.
Got lots of stuff happening this next session.
Yep.
Another one of our characters has been in torment. Torment. Milking the giant cow. Torment.
Which character's that?
Yale. The gift that the character hates.
Yep. She's on Fantasy Laudanum.
Yeah,
Yes.
Fantasy Laudanum, yeah. And then my character's just like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So you're the daughter of a goddess, yeah, tracks.
Yep.
That's how my character thinks. I always wondered why I was so awesome.
That explains a lot.
Actually, he's like, I never wondered why I was so awesome, but that tracked. It's kind of how she thinks about it.
Yep. All right. Well, cool. Yeah, I guess I'm going to actually wrap up. I know sometimes we have a little hangout session afterwards,
Yeah, that's cool, man.
but
Thanks for the heads up.
yeah, thank you everybody. Really appreciate you showing up and watching our show. I guess guys garage ate them. But I will wrap up here, and I will.
His phone so he could text me.
Yeah.
Help being murdered. Okay. No. He did not actually text me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to queue up our ending video and say goodnight, and then we will see you all next Monday if everything works. Oh, he's alive.
Good night.
He's alive.
Right. Go ahead, guy.
It was closed, so I have no idea what's going on.
Your sensors lied to you.
Yep. So, all right.
Wrap it up.
That's all the time we have for today. I've been Guy.
I've been Troy.
And I've been Alex.
And this is Geek Tank.